Hey, everybody. Hey, happy Wednesday. Welcome to Mission for Mental Health. I'm your host, Jackie Robinson. And if you can see who I have with me, I have somebody who looks just like me sitting next to me today. Somebody who she looked just like me sitting next to me today. Let me see if I can slide her a little bit closer. There she go. Yeah, lift her up a little bit. Hey, mama.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Great.
Okay. So I wanted to bring you on the show today because I was listening to Ricky Smiley morning show. Do you know who Ricky Smiley is? You ever heard of Ricky Smiley?
I have.
You've heard of Ricky Smiley? Well, he has a morning show, and he always has this guy on, and I can't think of his name right now, but he talked about last month for Black History Month. He said that in order for us to really learn about Black history, that we should find the eldest person in our family and we should interview them.
Okay.
What you think about that?
I think that's a good idea.
You think that's a good idea?
I do.
I do too. I thought that would be a great idea. So I meant to do it for Black History Month, but I didn't get a chance to. So I said, you know what? Maybe I'll do it for your birthday.
Sounds good.
You got a birthday coming up, right?
Very soon.
Do you know when your birthday is going to be?
On the 9th.
On the 9th. That's this Saturday.
That's this coming Saturday?
That's this coming Saturday.
Okay. I haven't looked at a calendar, so I don't know.
Okay. Let me see if I can move my camera down a little bit, get you a little bit more in there. You look like you shrinking. You getting short. You getting shorter in your years.
You think so?
Yeah. So what do you think? You think that's a good idea to have people chronicleize their family history?
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. So we'll start a little bit with ours. Kiana said, "Hey, Mama, that's one of my sorority sisters." And then you know who this young lady is. You see who's that in that picture? Can you see her over there? You don't have your glasses on.
I don't have my glasses.
That's Dana.
Is that Dana?
That's Dana. You see Dana right there?
Yeah.
Okay. She said, "Hey, Mama Jean."
Yeah.
So people leave.
Tiny picture of her.
That's a small picture of her. Yeah. So let's start from the beginning. Let's start with the basics. I was trying to let one other person know to tune in. And so hold on 1 second for me, y'all. Give me 1 second. Share. Whoops. Because this lady loves her some Miss Jean. So I wanted to make sure that I gave her the link. She might be on here already because she watches every week.
Oh, really?
Copy link. So
every week?
She watches every week, her and her daughter. She's so amazing. Hold on 1 second. Y'all, hey, y'all. No. Y'all have to be quiet. Y'all know we live. You know how this thing goes. Y'all got to be quiet over there, okay? Thank you. No, I just said y'all got, Mama, tell them they got to be quiet.
You have to be quiet.
London, this is a live show. I'm going to need for you to be quiet. Lord have mercy. I mean, these kids, they just...
I love the color of your hair.
You like this color?
I love it.
You know, Dana did it.
Well, that's probably one of the reasons why it looks so good.
It looks good, don't it? All right, so let's go ahead and get started, y'all, because this is only an hour show. And on YouTube, you know, they're going to cut me off in an hour. They're going to cut me off before the show's over with. So do you remember what year you were born?
Yes, 1937.
1937.
March 9th, 1937.
March 9th, 1937.
Yeah.
Do you remember where you were born in 1937?
All I know is Arkansas. I don't know the name of the town.
You just know you were born in Arkansas in 1937. Did they have like any cars or anything like that? Were they y'all drive?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, were.
Yeah. Yeah, there were little, from what I remember, they were little tiny coupes. You know, they weren't a real big car. They were little tiny coupes.
Okay. You know. Not horse and buggy though, right?
Oh, no. No, these were cars.
Okay. So you remember being born in somewhere in Arkansas in 1937. Do you remember your mom's name?
Yes.
What's her name?
Ozella.
Ozella Williams? Or was it
No,
Adams?
it was Adams.
Ozella Adams.
Mhm.
Okay. And then do you remember who they said your dad was at the time?
At the time, they said Pete Williams.
Pete Williams, they said was your dad at the time.
Mhm.
But we later found out.
But he wasn't.
But he wasn't.
No.
So what was growing up like in 1937 in Arkansas? Or did y'all stay in Arkansas, or did you?
We moved to California. I don't remember anything about Arkansas.
Okay.
To tell you the truth.
Okay.
All I can tell you about is Oakland, California.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So you moved to Oakland. Do you know who took you to Oakland, California?
Yes. I want to say my birth mother, which was Ozella.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Took you to California,
yeah.
Oakland.
Mm-hmm. Oakland, California.
Oakland, California.
And I remember my mother we had this big house. Believe it or not, it had 22 rooms.
Is this in Oakland?
Oakland, California.
So you had a big house with 22 rooms in Oakland, California.
1624 11th Street.
So y'all can verify. I wonder if it's still there. 1624 11th Street, Oakland, California.
Oakland, California, West Oakland. And it probably still is there.
It probably is.
Because it was just gorgeous.
It was a gorgeous house. So you remember moving in the house. Do you remember who all lived in that house?
Well, there was my brother.
What's his name?
H.L. George.
Mm-hmm.
They were the George family. And, of course, my dad was Pete Williams, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And real strict.
Did Ozella live there?
Ozella lived there briefly, and I'm trying to remember where she moved to, but I just can't quite remember where she moved.
Okay. So you know that you all are in this big, humongous house in Oakland, California.
Oh, my goodness.
And so it's
this big, great, big house. And we had a fireplace. Most people didn't have fireplaces, you know. We had a fireplace.
Do you remember so you moved to Oakland, California in this big house, mm-hmm. and who lives there is Pete, mm-hmm. your brother, H.L. George,
mm-hmm.
and who else?
Mary Elizabeth.
And Mary Elizabeth. Now,
mm-hmm.
who was Mary Elizabeth?
Well, she raised me,
mm-hmm.
you know. I called her, I was taught to call her mother. She didn't birth me.
She didn't birth you?
No.
Ozella birthed you?
Yes.
Yes. And so you were taught to call her mom.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And did anybody else live in that big old house?
Oh, yeah. You know, there were a couple of uncles, but I can't remember their name.
A couple uncles that you can't remember their name?
Mm-hmm.
Were they like Pete's brothers, or were they Pete's brothers, or were they Mary Elizabeth's brothers?
They were from another family.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my mother, Mary Elizabeth, raising them along with me. But
they weren't blood.
We weren't blood. No.
They weren't blood. Okay. All right. And so do you remember what kind of work Pete did, or what kind of work Mary Elizabeth did back then?
My dad always did construction work. He was a hod carrier.
A hod carrier?
Mm-hmm.
Is that like a brick mason?
That I don't think it was as high up as a brick mason,
mm-hmm.
but it was in construction. You know, it was in the construction line.
So they must have had a little bit of money.
Yes.
Do you think, back then in 1937, 37 to, 47, 10 years,
mm-hmm.
Do you think that they were able to achieve this money because of how they looked?
I think it was how they looked and how they worked.
And how they worked?
Yes.
Because Pete was a very, very tall,
very
fair skinned,
yes,
man.
Yes.
And even though he wasn't
very well built.
He was. Yeah.
Yes.
He was very tall, physically fit looking.
Yeah. No fatty blood.
No fat, nothing.
No.
And Mary Elizabeth, what do you remember how she looked?
Like a white woman.
She looked just like a white woman, didn't she?
Matter of fact, I used to hate to go downtown because people would stare at us. She was very fair.
Why do you think they were staring? Because you were fair too.
Yeah, but not like her. I mean, look, this woman could have passed for white. Okay,
she could have.
Yeah, and but she didn't. And it was funny. They'd see this little black girl with what they thought was a white woman. You know, because she'd take me everywhere.
And that was Mary Elizabeth. Do you know where Ozella was at the time?
Ozella was in Oakland, but I don't remember what part of West Oakland.
She was in West Oakland. Were y'all in East or West
Oakland? We all lived in West Oakland. Our house was in West Oakland. And the thing that used to get me about that house is it had so many damn rooms. I'm going, what?
Maybe they had it so people can move, that needed a place to live.
They did.
Move in and out.
She did.
Because a lot of Black families didn't have property like
that. Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you remember about H.L. George, your brother?
He was a gambler. Always dressed nice. Always had a pocket full of money. Because he was what they called a professional gambler at that time. And,
a professional gambler.
Mm-hmm.
Did Mary Elizabeth have any type of career or job, or did she do anything?
She used to do day work. She did day work.
What's day work?
And I can't think of, where you clean the house.
Clean house
and everything.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's sad that I can't think of these people's name because she used to always take me everywhere with her, When she'd go to work, I'd go to work with her.
Mm-hmm.
And spend the day wherever it was she worked. I know that she worked for very wealthy families. They all seem to have been wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them didn't have kids. Some of them, it was like I became their kid,
The houses that she was cleaning?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Were these white families?
White.
In Oakland?
Well, they probably were Italian, but I'm saying white,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you remember let me see. Do you remember your education? Like, where did you go to school? What kind of education did you receive?
It was a public school. And I want to say the name of it was Clausen.
Clausen?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you attend Catholic school as well?
And I attended Catholic school. As a matter of fact, what she did, she took me out of the public school and put me in the Catholic school.
Why did she do that?
She thought it was better.
To put you in Catholic school?
Yes.
Was it better?
Well, at that time, I didn't think it was better. I didn't like it because I had to give up the school that I'd been going to, and I had some friends there, and we're at the Catholic school. Catholic school back then was very different from what it is now.
I don't know what it is now because I've never been.
Okay. Well, you missed a whole lot.
I missed a
whole lot of mass, going to mass, You go to, it's like after breakfast, you automatically went to Mass. And of course, you know, our house was around the corner from the school.
Mm-hmm.
We had a public school and we had a Catholic school. And
Yeah, like Catholic school.
well, no, because
do you remember the
very
age you were when you were going to
I
Catholic school?
was very young. I would like to say, you know what? I would like to say maybe when I started, I think it was about 8.
About 8 years old.
I think I was.
How long do you think you stayed in Catholic school?
Oh God. I know at least 2 years,
Okay.
maybe longer.
Okay. Okay. So let's move forward. So did you complete school or did you stop going to school?
I stopped going to school.
About what age were you when you stopped going to school?
Probably about, I know I had become a teenager, but I don't quite remember what year.
Okay. You knew you were a teenager.
Mm-hmm. I think I had just become a teenager.
Just become a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so, so you just becoming a teacher, are you talking about 12, 13 years old?
Probably like maybe close to 13.
13 years old.
I want to say, yeah.
Okay. And so at 13, so what was your life like when you turned 13? Since now you're not in school.
I thought it was very good. I had a very good life. I keep trying to think of something that was wrong, and I just can't come up with it because I was extremely spoiled.
Yes.
I mean, when I say extremely spoiled, that's exactly what I mean. Extremely spoiled.
So what does that mean? What is extremely spoiled?
It means anything you think you want, you see it, you say it out loud, and someone in the house is going to buy it.
What?
Yeah. I was, I'm going to say it again. I was extremely spoiled.
Interesting.
As a matter of fact, there was a coat, and at this time, these coats became very popular. They were like a fur coat, and they had the
like a real fur.
Yeah, and they had the tam that went with it.
Mm-hmm.
I had the gloves, I had the tam, and I had the coat.
How much do you think that cost back then?
Oh God, it was very costly. I don't know. I don't know the exact dollar amount. I just know. Listen, I was extremely spoiled.
Extremely spoiled.
Extremely. Please notice I use the word extremely.
Yeah, you've said it quite a few times.
Extremely.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
I mean, it was nothing for me to have. At that time, I remember we had dollars, okay, but it was like silver. It was like change. You know, it wasn't like the bill. You had these
silver dollars.
Silver dollars. And I have always had money. Always. From the time I was little.
Who was giving you all that money?
My dad. Pete Williams.
Pete Williams. So let me ask you this. So around, you said you had a great childhood. You were extremely spoiled.
Extremely.
Pete made sure that you had everything.
Yes.
I know Lizzie probably wasn't having all that. But they called Elizabeth Lizzie. That was her nickname, Lizzie. So at what point did you meet my older brother and sister's dad? How old were you? that you can remember?
That I can remember.
Mm-hmm. And tell me about how that came about. How did that?
I want to say I was, you know what? I was probably, I want to say from 7 to maybe 9. Yeah, I want to say 7 to 9.
You met their dad when you were about between 7 and 9 years old when you first met him,
Mm-hmm.
but he's older.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got married.
That was when I had become a teenager when I got married.
So how old do you remember you were when you got
13.
married? You were 13 when you got married.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is to my older brother and 2 sisters' dad.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Was this something that you wanted to do, or was this something that?
Well, you know, you have to remember we didn't have many black, what we would call colored then, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't have many colored people in the town. So what few of us there that was there, we usually, you know, got together some kind of way,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And that was how that went.
So Pete was okay with his 13-year-old daughter?
He was not. Pete was in California.
Oh, okay. So I think I got lost somewhere. So
yeah, you know, my well, you know, she wasn't my birth mother, but I always called her my mother.
You talking about Elizabeth?
Mary Elizabeth
Mm-hmm.
Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We had moved to Oregon then.
Okay. So you left California and moved to Oregon.
California. She left California and we moved to Oregon.
So do you remember what part of Oregon it was?
Pendleton, Oregon.
Pendleton, Oregon.
Where they have their rodeo and roundup, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's their big thing, you know.
All right. So you moved to Oregon,
Mm-hmm.
and this is around the time that you met their dad, my oldest sibling's dad.
Yeah.
And got married at 13.
Yeah.
So Pete was still in California.
Yeah.
But Elizabeth allowed you to get married, or was it even a thing? Was it even an allowed you thing, or did he come looking for you, or how did that work?
I think she thought we were going to run away. So she let me get married.
Do you remember how old he was?
He was 10 years older than me. Yeah, he was 10.
He was 10 years older than you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you're 13 and you get married,
mm-hmm.
and he's 10 years older than you.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes the first baby.
Mm-hmm.
What's the first baby's name?
What happened?
Did you have a wedding?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What happened with the first baby? He was a preemie. He came early.
Did you have him at a hospital?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or you didn't have him at home?
No. He was born in a hospital, and he came early because Harper's uncle, I want to say it was Uncle Jim. We went to California to pick up someone, but I don't remember who.
So you left Oregon and went to California to go pick up somebody.
Mm-hmm. And when we got back, I started throwing up all this blood. I mean, it was like a bucket of blood.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember this pressure being on me, and my stomach was hurting.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept telling Harper and Uncle Jim that I was hurting. And they said, well, maybe we better take her to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So they took me to the hospital, and that's where that little preemie was born.
Yeah. And how big was he when he was born?
He was 3 pounds and 8 ounces.
3 pounds and 8 ounces. And what did you name him?
He was named, what did we name him?
What did you call him?
called him Pee Wee because he was so tiny. He weighed 3 pounds and 8 ounces.
And we call him Pee Wee to this day.
And we call him Pee Wee to this day.
Even if he don't like it.
Even if he doesn't like it and he's 100 years old, he's still going to be Pee Wee.
That's right. So after Pee Wee came the next one. And so there's a period of time when Pee Wee and the next one are the same age. There's a couple months that they're the same age. So they were kind of like having twins, right?
Yeah.
So that's 14. So 13, 14, and 15.
Yeah. And we lived in a little place called Ordnance, Oregon. It was like the projects, but they real fancy, full of white people. I think if I can remember correctly, I think we had 5 black families
there. Five black families
lived there. Yes.
Wow.
Out of all those people. Yeah.
5 black families. All right. And so are you working at all at the time? Or
no.
Okay.
No.
But Harper's working.
Yeah.
That's their dad, y'all. And then there's one more that comes after Eva. Then you got one more coming after Eva.
Yeah.
And who was that?
That was Carol.
Carol Ann.
Carol.
Now, Carol Ann was born at home.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
If I remember.
We didn't get to make it to the hospital with her. The hospital was in a little town called Heppner.
This is in Oregon. So Pee Wee, Eva, and Carol were born in Oregon. Okay. Heppner, Oregon. In case y'all didn't know where y'all were born. Heppner, Oregon. Okay. And so how long did you all live in Heppner or Oregon?
We were there a couple of years.
Were you there long enough for them to go to school in Heppner, Oregon? Or did you all move after
No, they didn't. They didn't go to school there. We moved. No, they didn't go to school there.
They didn't?
No.
All right. So then where did you all move to?
From Heppner, Oregon, where did we go? I want to say we moved back to California.
Moved back to California. Okay. Back to Oakland?
Yeah, we were in Oakland. And somehow I keep thinking Berkeley.
Berkeley. Okay.
Which was North Oakland.
Yeah. All right. So you Harper and the kids moved back to California, and you think it's Berkeley. Okay. So how long did you all live out there? And what was the lifestyle like then? What was it like being in Oakland or Berkeley at that time? So were they born in the 50s?
Yes.
What are they like? I think 58 or something like that. Are they 60s or 50s? I think they're 50s.
No, it was the 50s.
They're born in the 50s. So what is Berkeley, California look like at that time?
Extremely white.
Extremely white. I guess I'm talking about your son so much he felt he needed to call. I guess I'll answer him. You do know I'm doing my podcast, correct?
Oh shit, I'm sorry.
Look, you just cussing. Oh shit, I'm sorry.
Hi, Pee Wee.
How you doing? I forgot I'm at work, and I just I sent you something through Bell. Okay.
Okay. So you're live. So we'll talk to you later. You want the link? She's talking about you. Would you like the link to the show so you can watch it?
Well, I'm at work, so I won't be able to see it.
Well, we'll watch it later. Okay. Love you. Bye-bye.
Love you.
Bye.
I thought he might have wanted to call and tell you what his name was, since you said you can't remember his name, so you said it's Pee Wee.
Well, the nickname, but the real name is Eugene.
Eugene.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
I was just wondering if you
somebody
remember his
was
name.
upset because I put that Gene in there. I said, brother, you just gonna have to be upset because he's gonna have some gene in there somewhere.
His dad was upset because you named him after you too.
Yes.
So you named him after him and you.
Yes.
Okay. So what was life like living in Berkeley, in the 50s? What did it look like? What type of, was it black? Quiet. Was it white? What did it look like?
It was mixed.
Mixed.
Yeah. Real quiet, real rich looking, and mixed.
Okay. And so
you didn't have a lot of black people living in Berkeley.
There wasn't a lot of black people living in Berkeley.
As a matter of fact, there wasn't a lot of black people living down in that area, period. Yeah.
It's Eura, E-U-R-A.
E-U-R-A.
G-E-N-E.
G-E-N-E.
So his dad's name was Eura and mama's name was Jean.
Yes.
So she combined it.
That's right.
You know how they did back in the day. Well, they do it today, combining them names.
They do it today. I mean, he was pissed because I did it. I said, well, he's going to have my name too.
I know that's right.
And that's that. There's nothing to even discuss there.
Okay. I guess all women want to name a child after themselves.
Sure.
Okay. All right. So that's good. If y'all are enjoying the show, if you could do me a favor, please hit the like button. Just reach over, boom, hit the like button if you're enjoying this conversation. This is a history lesson that y'all are receiving today, especially all that live out in California and everything like that, and wanted to know what Cali was looking like back in the 50s and things like that. Like I mentioned at the start of the show, if you want to know your history, look for the oldest person in your family. And my mother is the oldest person in our family. She'll be 87 on Saturday. Look for the oldest person in your family and interview them and throw it out there so we can share some history, and you don't have to be black, y'all. Anybody can do this. Look for the oldest person in your family so you can get some history and get it documented. Malika asks, what happened to Harper? How did Harper go? Okay, so there's 5 of us, but did you and Harper ever move to San Jose?
Yes, we did.
Okay. How did you and Harper split up?
I got tired of him hitting me.
Okay. So it was a tumultuous type of relationship.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, he's been dead for some years. He ended up becoming a really great man. He actually, when I did get married, my father was already deceased. My brother's father was already deceased, and he was going to actually fly out here to Georgia to walk me down the aisle, but he ended up getting cancer and he passed away. I don't know what year it was. I'll have to ask my sister because they know what year it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you're in San Jose, and so how did you end up going to San Jose? What made you guys go to San Jose? Did you go with Harper? Did you go by yourself, or what made you grab up your kids and move to San Jose?
I'm trying to think why. I think I got tired of him hitting me.
You got tired? Okay. And so you packed up your kids. Okay.
Yeah.
So you packed up your kids and moved.
Yes.
Is this Pendragon? Or did you guys live someplace else?
I'm trying to remember who it was an aunt and uncle that he had that we stayed with before we moved back to Oregon.
Oh, so you guys moved back to Oregon before you went to San Jose? Okay. Well, them kids moved around a lot, didn't they?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So what type of work, since now that you out here on your own, what type of work are you doing? I remember one time looking through.
I worked in the hospital as a nurse's aide.
The county hospital, right?
County hospital.
San Jose County, Santa Clara County?
Santa Clara County.
Okay. And I remember looking through a photo album and I saw you had a barber license.
Yes. I went to barber college also.
What other stuff did you do? Way before IBM though. What stuff did you do when you were younger? because you sound like you were probably in your 20s about this time.
I did housework, regular housework.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm trying to remember how I got into Barber College. I worked with someone, and they said, you ought to go to barber school.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, we didn't have a barber where we lived. You used to have to go to a little town called Pasco, Washington, to get your hair fixed if you were a woman, or if you were a man, you went to Pasco, Washington to get a haircut. And I went in there one day. I can't remember what it was for. And the owner was there, the owner of the school. It was International Barber College. And he said, you ever think about cutting hair? And I said, not really. He said, yeah, give it a try. I think you'd like it, and I think you'd be good at it. I said, well, I'll have to think about it. And I thought about it, and that's how I ended up at Barber College.
Okay. So we moving forward, but we're gonna go back, but just moving forward so the audience knows. I have a brother who is Damon is what, 9 years older than me?
9 or
something
10.
like that. 9 or 10 years.
Yeah.
That's not 10, 9 years older than me.
Yeah.
And then me. So it's a total of 5 of us. And I grew up in San Jose. But let's move back because I want people to understand your history when it comes to, I know that you were raised by Pete and Elizabeth, and Ozella is your biological mom.
Yes.
But a few years ago, we found out that Pete was not your biological father.
Oh, no. He was never, we never declared him as the biological father. Although I had to call him Dad, you know.
So, but we found out that who was actually your biological father?
H.L. George.
Which is who to you?
He was, well, we were raised as sister and brother.
You were raised as sister and brother, but he was actually
my father,
your biological father. And so H.L. George had a wife.
Yes.
Jean. I think her name was Jean too. I think it was a whole bunch of y'all named Evelyn. And Evelyn had some kids, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember their names?
I don't remember their names. I know there's a Jean and a Joey. And one of the kids died. I can't remember which one died. And I can't remember their names.
Do you know, well, let me ask you this. Evelyn and HL's kids, were you all raised as you're the aunt?
Yeah.
They called you Aunt Jean, or
no?
What they called
me Jean.
But they were raised as if they were your nieces and nephews and not your siblings,
right?
Because you're the oldest.
Yeah.
Out of all of them, it was like 6 of them, and you're the oldest out of all of them. But you never knew that you guys were siblings.
No.
Until a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So, what was it like growing up with all of them, your nieces and nephews? Did y'all hang out with each other? Did you guys know each other?
We did. We you know, my mother had this real big house, and all of us lived there in this house. You know, and we all went to school together. You know.
And y'all look alike too.
For the world, yes.
So come to find out, because the way I remember the story is that Pete was your father, Ozella was your mother, and Elizabeth was Pete's wife.
Yeah.
And she helped raise you.
Yeah.
They said that you were left by Ozella like in a dresser drawer or something crazy like that.
Left on the doorstep.
Left on the doorstep.
Mm-hmm.
And Pete took you in,
mm-hmm.
and him and Elizabeth raised you as their own child.
Yeah.
But come to find out, Elizabeth is actually your blood. What you picking at? You got a pin in your hair?
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth is actually your blood. She was actually your grandmother.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this woman that looked white is your grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Which explains why you look white.
Mm-hmm.
which explains why you're so fair skinned, right?
Right.
Because she was. Do you know what her nationality is?
You know, I really don't. I really don't.
You really don't know what her nationality is.
Mm-mm.
But she's extremely fair skinned.
Very fair.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Pete was very fair skinned too. And y'all look just really alike, but Pete ended up not being blood at all.
No, he ended up not being blood at all.
And he was strict too.
Oh, he was mean and strict.
Well, he's mean to y'all. He wasn't mean to me.
Well, of course not. You were the baby.
Mm-hmm. He used to tell me to tell my daddy
mm-hmm.
what he used to tell me about that money.
Mm-hmm.
If it don't have 2 numbers on it,
don't take it.
Don't take that bill if it don't have 2 numbers on that bill. Got to have 2 or more numbers.
Mm-hmm.
My dad used to be so mad at him saying stuff like that. He did. Yep. So when you found out that Pete was not your biological father, and you took care of him until the day he died.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
You remember taking care of him in the nursing home and all that stuff?
I do.
You remember doing all that?
Yeah.
Because
he was so mean, you know, he put him out of the people put him out of the first one that we had him in.
Yes, I remember that. He did have to change nursing homes
Mm-hmm.
because he was mean to the nurses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. We'll get it later. Yeah, he was mean to the nurses.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, my dad was just mean, period. He really was. A hard-working man, but very mean.
Well, but he also spoiled you too.
Oh, definitely. No doubt about it.
Do you remember the house on 55th Street?
Oh, yes. That was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Very beautiful house.
So my grandfather had
big upstairs and downstairs.
He owned the whole place on East 55th Street in Oakland, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Big, pretty house.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And picture windows weren't, they were kind of rare because they were so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he had that big picture window. And
very pretty.
It was really a beautiful house.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember when he used to tell you about your cars?
Yeah. He said you should take better care of them. If your husband can't take care of them, bring them down here and I'll take care of them. Okay.
Malika asked, so if Elizabeth was her grandmother, who was her child? H.L. George was her child.
Yes.
H.L. George.
She had one.
Pete never had any kids that we knew of.
No.
When we found out later on, of course.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't have any children.
He didn't have any children.
His ladies had children. But,
you remember when we talked about family secrets, y'all, and a couple episodes ago, and we were talking about family secrets. So this was a family secret of ours that they all was trying to take to the grave until I think my sister Carol and my brother Pee Wee started digging.
Yeah.
And I think that's how they started finding out information, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
And then we went to go to California a couple years ago. Me, Carol, Eva, Mama went to California to go meet my uncle, Bud. Mm-hmm. And Uncle Bud still was trying to hold the secret. So even him and his siblings learned of the secret, the family secret, from one of their sisters that had cancer. She was dying.
Yeah.
So her mother had told them about my mom. And he was trying to hold the secret too. And I finally just asked, "Are you her brother or not? You know, we came all the way out here." So he finally was just like, whew. He just felt so relieved to finally know that he didn't have to keep this secret anymore.
Right.
And he passed away last Wednesday. But you know, it was a whole lot of siblings. It's a whole lot of
secret kids.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of kids that we didn't know about, didn't find out about until later on, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of kids. I don't remember how many. I just know there was a lot of kids.
And y'all staying in a 20-bedroom house, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Everybody was living up in that house. So how did you end up reconnecting with Ozella? And Ozella ended up having another 2 more kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you had your dad's side of the family, which was, we called Pete and Lizzie.
Yeah.
And just my mom and HL. But
yeah.
we later found out that HL is really her biological father.
Yeah.
So that's the dad's side of the family. So the mom, her name is Ozella. She looked like Ozella too. Ozella looks like she mixed with something as well.
And she was mixed with something, you know.
But them secrets, because she never would say anything. But then how did you ended up reconnecting with Ozella? Do you remember?
Yes. You know, I had a sister named Lois Jean. You know about Lois Jean.
I know about her, but I didn't get to meet her because she had already died before, long before I came around. She was young. She was what happened to her?
Very young. You know, I don't know. All I know is that she was sick. That's all I was told.
So remember, she drank a lot, right?
She was what they call a wino. Yes.
A wino.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What was she drinking? Do you know?
Any kind of wine she could get her hands on. Mm-hmm. And I want to say, you know, the wine, I want to say it was called Dubonnet, from what I remember.
Look at y'all.
And this was a very good wine.
Okay. So she liked to drink Dubonnet.
Yeah, she was a drunkard. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And did she have children?
She did. I don't know why I keep saying there's 5 of them.
It was.
I know there were a lot.
Yeah, she had Tony.
Mm-hmm.
She had she had a daughter. Her daughter's still alive. I just can't think of everybody's name right now.
And see, Tony is the only one that I can remember.
She had a Stefan was one.
Stefan.
I can't remember all of them.
I can't either.
Mm-hmm.
But Tony and I at one time, we were real close.
Yeah, I love me some Tony.
Always come and see about me.
Mm-hmm.
Always. I wonder if he's still living.
Who?
Tony.
No, he's deceased. He was murdered in Oakland. Remember when we went to go visit Bud? We saw Kenneth and Stefan. And he said we had just missed Tony. He was murdered like a couple months prior.
Yes, I do vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Yep. And so she also has another son, Kenneth.
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Kenneth,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what was your relationship like with your sister? Because I don't really know much about her.
Lois Jean.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't let me have a lot to do with Lois Jean because Lois Jean was a wino.
And you say, who's they?
The family.
What family?
Our family. You know, I can't remember the names now, you know. But she used to go down on 7th Street.
Is this in Oakland?
West Oakland. And I was told, you know, she'd go down there and turn tricks. I don't, you know, they didn't let me be around her that much. But
Are you referring to Lizzie and Pete?
I'm referring to Pete.
Pete didn't let you be around them?
Pete didn't let me be around anybody. Dad was just mean. He was, as I look back on it, I say he was mean because he couldn't be with the woman he loved, which was Anne.
I thought he loved Elizabeth. I thought he loved Elizabeth. You saying he loved somebody else?
He was in love with Anne, but Anne was married.
So you think that's why he was mean? Because
he was mean because he was just mean.
He was mean because he was just mean.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
He was. Pete was, oh my God.
Okay.
I remember one summer, every summer my mother used to send me to visit with him. And his lady, whose name was Anne, her daughter's name was Jean. There was Jean.
Everybody's name was Jean.
And Ronnie. And I used to always have to go and play with them during the day and come home, by the time Dad was getting ready to get off from his job. Oh my God, those were some rough years.
Okay, so let's move forward.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we have your history, mm-hmm. and we know about where you were born, mm-hmm. and we know about March 1937. Her birthday's on Saturday, y'all. She'll be 87. Mm-hmm. We know that you were you moved to Oakland, then you moved to Oregon. You were raised by Pete and Elizabeth. Mm-hmm. Pete was no relation. Elizabeth, we later found out in life, a couple years ago, Pete was no relation. Elizabeth is actually your grandmother, but she was raised as a stepmother. Mm-hmm. H.L. George, which was your brother, raised as your brother, was actually your father. Mm-hmm. He was married to Evelyn, and they mm-hmm. had a family. You all were living in Oakland. You, on your mother's side, you had Lois Jean mm-hmm. and Kenneth. Mm-hmm. And Lois Jean passed away very young. I want to say she was in her 30s.
She was
34, 35. I remember them
young.
telling me
very
when
young.
She passed away. Kenneth is still alive. Kenneth has a son, and Lois Jean had about 5 kids, but I think only one or maybe 2 of her kids are still alive. We don't have any relationship with them. Then you divorce, you get married. You have 3 kids, one at 13, 14, 15, or 14, 15, mm-hmm. 16, somewhere in there. Yeah. Those are my oldest siblings. You divorced. Do you remember how long you were married to Harper? Remember how many years it was?
Oh God, how many years?
Did you stay into your 20s?
It was years. I probably was in my early 20s.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And we know he didn't like you wearing red lipstick and red fingernail polish. I remember you telling me about that red lipstick and that red fingernail polish. Mm-hmm. And then you divorced him, you moved to San Jose, and you moved back and forth. So, and then you have a barber license, you work at the county hospital, you're cleaning houses. And then how does Drake come into the picture? Drake is my brother's dad, y'all.
Construction work.
He did construction work?
Yeah. They this company that he worked for, I can't think of the name of it now.
This is in San Jose, right?
This was in San Jose.
Mm-hmm.
This is how he and Sampson came to San Jose.
Okay.
The construction company, he was following the construction work, and they ended up in San Jose.
Okay. And then were y'all married? You and Drake?
Eventually, Drake and I never got married. Okay. No.
All right.
But Harper and I.
Yeah, I know you and Harper were married, but you and Drake never got married. No. Then you have my brother. Mm-hmm. And then I guess that didn't work out because y'all never got married. So now you got 4. And the oldest 3 said you was mean. The oldest 3 said that you didn't let them touch nothing.
I let them touch things, but they were made to mine.
what was the statement that they always said that you said about them? Kids were meant to be what?
Kids were meant to be kids, I guess.
No, they ain't what you said. You told them kids were meant to be seen, not heard.
That's true.
They said that you was mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said that you was on them.
Mm-hmm.
They used to get the brakes beat off of them. You used to tear their little tails up.
With a switch.
With a switch.
Yes.
She even coming down the hallway laughing because she knows she one of them three that used to get her tail tore up. What she say that she didn't get a whooping. The other, you want to jump on? You want to say your side?
27 with your dad.
Everybody.
9 years with my dad, 9 years with Drake, 27 with your dad.
Okay, so she said 9 years with Harper, which is Eva, Pee Wee, and Carol's dad. Right. 9 years with Drake, which is Damon's dad, and 27 years with my dad. I guess she couldn't get rid of him. Well, she stayed with him till he died. Yeah, we were all together the entire time. We all grew up together. Even though our ages are big gaps, but we were all together until Pee Wee decided, he wanted to go do his thing or whatever. All right, so yeah, them. So, but me and Damon got away with murder. Like we didn't get beat like that. We didn't.
You guys, yeah. Well, you guys were. Well, you were good. You know,
I was
you were
good.
sneaky, but you were,
I was good.
I mean, as good as you could be.
I was good. I don't ever recall you saying I was a good child. Yeah. You ain't got to say it because you stay here with me. You can tell the truth. Tell the truth. I ain't gonna put you out. All right. So you moved to you're in San Jose. You and Drake clearly didn't work out, and then here comes my dad. So where did he come from?
Where? And I should remember because there weren't that
Here
many
come Eva.
black.
She gonna tell it because Eva know where my daddy came from.
Right. Because
you want to tell the story right quick? You too scared to get on here? So what's the story? Where did my dad? You can stand right here and just be loud and tell it. Where did my daddy come from? Well, I know that my dad is from Alabama. I'm saying, how did she meet?
Oh, because Mama always hung around older people. There was no young people in San Jose at the time when she was there.
But my dad's is the same age as her.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing. When he came in from the ship, Navy and all that stuff, there was nobody there but older people. There was only one little black clique there.
Okay. So she's saying that when my dad was in the Navy, he came from Alabama. My daddy's from Alabama, Tuscumbia, Alabama, y'all, from the country. And he was in the Navy, and he came to California, and all the little black clique together. Let me ask you this before we run out of time, because our show is usually an hour. Tyson said used to chase us around with balled up newspaper. Hey man, we all used to get it. She used to get me with switches. She used to always used to try to put her little hands on me. But my daddy was like, stop, you need to talk to my daughter. Don't be putting your hands on me. It was awful, y'all. That could be a whole nother show. But just moving forward, let me ask you this, because this is one thing that I always admired about you. Because the echo is one thing I always admired about you. And a lot of people do not know how to do this. But if they did, life could be a lot easier. How come you never made I don't know. So my older siblings have a dad, and he had a wife, Sue. My brother Damon had a dad. He had a wife. What's her name? Jean. Her name was Jean, wasn't it? What's Drake's wife's name? Jean, wasn't it? Anyway, and then my mom was married to my dad. She never allowed us to call each other step, right?
Never. No
How
step.
come? How come?
I just didn't like that word step.
Half?
We could do the half. We did the half sometime, but no stepsister, no stepbrother, no step. Mm-mm.
And everybody, from what the kids saw, got along. So even when, why did you think that was important? That I don't ever recall seeing you or my dad argue with Harper and his wife, Drake and his wife. I've never seen any of that. I've never not been able to go to. I would go to Drake's house like he ain't even related to me. That's my brother's daddy. I would go to Drake's house. You would go to Drake's house and sit and talk with his wife with no problem. We'd eat. They'd have that hard candy. I remember that hard sticky candy in the bowl. We'd eat that little hard sticky candy in the bowl. All of Drake's kids were like my brothers. And even with Harper, well, of course, Harper's kids was my brothers and sisters, but his wife Sue has a son that we treated like our brother.
Yeah.
Why did you think that was important?
I don't know. It was just something. I didn't like that idea of saying somebody's a stepson or step, I just didn't like it.
Do you remember how you all were able to make that relationship work to where all of us were able to just be normal brothers and sisters without any issues? Do you remember having a conversation with my dad about that?
I don't remember having a conversation about it. It just happened, That's how we worked it.
That was a boss move.
Yes.
Because, people can't really do that nowadays. People don't do that nowadays.
Yeah.
Now it's, if you got the man and the woman ain't together anymore, and they meet new people, it's always some issues.
Yes.
Right. But you didn't let us have those kind of issues, right?
I
didn't even know Torn wasn't related to us until I got grown. I didn't know, because you all made a relationship for us that we didn't do step anything. There was no step.
There was no such thing as a step brother, step sister, step, It just wasn't.
Do you remember why you did that?
Well, I did it.
Sue did that and brought the men along.
Who did it?
Her and Sue did that and brought the men along.
Okay, so the woman in the background who don't want to get on the camera, that got a lot to say, said that Sue, which is Harper's wife, and her got together and got all the men to get along too. Y'all did good with that.
We did. We were kind of close to have been with the same man, and it was surprising to other people that we got along so well.
Yeah,
they just I mean, it was like a storybook. They couldn't believe it. They said people don't do that. And somebody said, yes, they do, because we're doing it.
Yeah. And you helped Sue all the way up until Harper died.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, because he was very sick. And, she was
And this
tired.
is the person that you said that you divorced because he was abusive. But yet
he was.
But yet you helped her with her husband.
Yes.
Until the day he died.
Till the day he died. Till the day he took his last breath. And he looked at both of us. He said, I think you're both crazy.
I think so too. That's been
because he was surprised that her and I got along so well. I said, well, you need help. He Harper was mean. He was very mean. I'll say one thing. He was equal. He was mean.
Mm.
And he came out of the bedroom one day,
Slide in the camera.
and
Slide. There you go.
and I was cussing. And he said, I came to see who out here was doing all this cussing, and it's you. When you learn how to cuss like that? And I had to look at him, and I thought, who do you think you talking to?
You said, who the F?
I did. What did you say? I said, you heard me. I can repeat it.
Mhm.
He said, where did you learn that from? Because, I was a baby when he got me,
Yeah. You said, I'm grown now. And my new husband cuss.
Yeah.
And that one in the middle too, because Drake was a firecracker too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, this is good. We got to learn a lot about your history. And before we move on in this, you ended up moving to San Jose. You met my dad. My dad chased my mama, y'all. He chased her for years, and she finally gave in. And they got together, moved up to Lobos Avenue. How did he propose to you? How did y'all get married? You remember that?
How did we get married?
Y'all were at work.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
We worked down the street from each other
Uh-huh.
at that time.
And then what he said, he called you.
He did. He said, let's go get married.
Y'all were on lunch break, right?
I said, okay. You said, yeah, I'm serious. That was it.
And then what happened? Y'all had a little cake.
Yeah, we had a little tiny cake. And that was it.
That was it. And then he said he needed a son. Did he get his son?
Yeah, he had Damon.
That's my brother, y'all. Yeah, he said he said he didn't have any children.
No.
Said he'd take care of you and
all my kids,
if he can just get a son.
Mm-hmm.
But he got me.
Yeah.
He didn't get no son. He got me. Okay. And then y'all stayed, you ended up, he did work a lot at first, and then he became an alcoholic too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You were working.
That was General Motors.
Who worked for General Motors?
They are, all the guys work for General Motors.
I never known him to work for General. I knew Crane, but not General Motors.
Yeah, you didn't. You knew Crane, but they all the guys, all the men were at one time worked for General Motors.
Mm-hmm. And that's how they became alcoholics.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. They like to party. Y'all used to have some parties at the house now.
Mm-hmm. And they used to have some party out there at General Motors too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we learned a lot about. I think you can write a book.
It's very interesting.
And there's a whole lot that we just
didn't get to
because I just couldn't think of it all, and we only have an hour to do this. So I appreciate you for sharing.
You're most welcome. It was very interesting.
My daddy never worked at. I don't recall. He worked at Crane. My dad worked at Crane. What did your daddy work at? Who worked at General Motors? Nobody. You just gave him a job. Are
you sure?
Well, you are 87. You ain't expected to remember it all.
Yeah, I didn't.
You did good though. You did good. You did good.
Well, it's a lot.
Huh?
It was a lot.
It's a lot.
And a lot of it, I have forgotten. A lot of it was very interesting.
Mm-hmm. So, do you have any closing remarks for people?
It's been a beautiful life.
You got a birthday
coming up. And I have a birthday coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very excited.
You're very excited about
it? Yes, God's been good to me.
Yes, he has.
Yes.
Well, since I got you on here, come in, like slide close to me a little bit. There you go. Now look right here. Since I got you close to me, you could tell everybody. They ain't got to know. Who's your favorite?
You need this.
You can go on and tell them. You go on and tell them it's me. You can go on and tell them.
He's gonna be in trouble.
You gonna who's gonna be in trouble?
I don't know, but
you know I'm the favorite. I love you, girl.
I love you.
All right. Thanks for coming on. Hey, y'all, I appreciate you guys for tuning in and watching. Like I said, I wanted to make sure that if that one don't, I just don't know why. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. You know, I wanted to make sure I was able to do a little chronicalizing and have something videotaped of my mom sharing some of her experience. It's a whole lot more. I mean, we could probably just drop some videos every now and then, just some things that pop up. She got a good memory now. It's not completely gone. It's still there. And so I just wanted to start and I'm gonna get them sisters and brothers of mine too, because you know they older too. They in their 70s. So we need to start, recording some of their little stories, because they got some stories to tell. Now they can tell about how their mama did them back in the day. But if you get an opportunity, like I said, find the oldest person in your family and just interview them and just see what they say, because y'all will be surprised. Black people in our history didn't always have a whole lot of money. My grandfather had horses. My grandfather drove Cadillacs. My grandfather did everything they said Black folks can't do back in the 30s. My grandfather was born in 1903 or something, like,
say 1907. I'm not sure.
It was in the early 1900s he was born. So he was he had things that they said Black folks can't have and wasn't supposed to have. And so you need to just go ahead and reach out to some of those elders in your family and interview them and hear their story, learn about how they felt about. See, we didn't even talk about, my mom did civil rights, just how was the experience was trying to go vote. We didn't talk about, and y'all need to get registered. And that's one thing I will say. She made all of us go vote. We know what we was voting for, but she made sure we went to go vote. So, because there was a period of time that they didn't get a chance to do all that. So she was here during those times. Do you remember when Martin Luther King died? Do you remember what you was doing when Martin Luther King died? What was you doing when Martin Luther King died? Do you remember that day?
I don't remember.
What about JFK? Remember the day JFK was shot?
I vaguely remember all of that stuff. Some of it, but it was a bad time.
So, so before it gets to where, if I would have asked her this 5 years ago, she'd probably been able to exactly tell me where she was and what she was doing during a major event like that. So catch them while you can. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. I don't know what I'm going to have on next week, what our topic is going to be, but if you can, please do me a huge favor and hit the like button. Subscribing is great. Subscribers don't move me up. So hit that like button if you can. I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys next Wednesday. Bye-bye. Oh, you like that? I got to close out the show.